Most men are shaped by their circumstances. Very few refuse them. Theodore Roosevelt was not born strong. He was not born fearless. He was not born destined for greatness. In fact, by all accounts, he should have died young. So how does a sickly, asthmatic child become the embodiment of masculine vigor? How does a man turn weakness into weaponry? And why, even today, does his life feel like a rebuke to modern comfort? This is not just the story of a president. This is the story of a man who forged himself, and in doing so, showed the world what disciplined masculinity looks like. Act 1. A frail beginning. Theodore Roosevelt was born in 1858 into wealth, privilege, and fragility. As a child, he suffered from severe asthma. He struggled to breathe. He was thin, weak, and constantly ill. There were nights when his father would carry him through the streets of New York just so the cool air could open his lungs. Doctors told his parents the truth. Theodore would never be strong. He should avoid physical strain. He should accept limitation. But Theodore refused that future. At age 12, he looked at himself in the mirror and saw a body that could not protect itself. And he made a vow. I will make my body. Not ask for it, not wish for it, build it. His father, Theodore Roosevelt Sr., understood something vital. You don't shield a boy from hardship. You prepare him to meet it. So, he built young Theodore a gym in their home. Weights, bars, rings. And the boy trained, not because it was easy, but because weakness was unacceptable. This was not about vanity, it was about self-command. And soon, Theodore would learn that physical strength alone was not enough. Act 2. Discipline of mind and character. Roosevelt was not just physically weak, he was socially awkward, obsessive, hyper-focused. But where others saw flaws, he saw raw material. He read obsessively. History, philosophy, biology. He wrote constantly. By the time he attended Harvard, he had already published works of history. But Harvard did not soften him. It sharpened him. He boxed, he wrestled, he lifted, and when bullies mocked him, he fought them. Not recklessly, not blindly, but deliberately. Roosevelt believed something radical, that discipline creates freedom. He once said, in life, as in a football game, the principle to follow is hit the line hard. No retreat, no excuse, no softness. This philosophy would soon be tested in the most brutal way possible. Act 3. Loss, grief, and the test of a man. In 1884, Theodore Roosevelt lost everything. On the same day, his mother died, and his wife died. His wife Alice had just given birth to their daughter. Roosevelt was shattered. In his diary, he wrote one sentence: "The light has gone out of my life." Most men would collapse here. Many never recover. Roosevelt did something different. He fled west, to the Badlands of North Dakota. There, he became a rancher, a cowboy, a man among men. He slept under the stars, hunted thieves, survived blizzards. He learned to endure silence, cold, hunger, and fear. He later said the West saved him, not by distracting him, but by demanding something of him. Pain did not break Roosevelt. It tempered him, and when duty called again, he answered. Act 4. War and Proof of Courage. In 1898, war broke out with Spain. Roosevelt was Assistant Secretary of the Navy, a powerful position. He could have stayed behind a desk, issued orders, taken credit. Instead, he resigned. Why? because he believed a man must never ask others to risk what he will not risk himself. He helped form the Rough Riders, a volunteer cavalry of cowboys, athletes, and frontiersmen. Then came San Juan Hill. The charge was chaotic. Bullets tore through the air. Men fell. Roosevelt did not hesitate. On horseback, exposed, shouting orders, he led the charge uphill into enemy fire. It was reckless. It was brave. It was him. Years later, he would receive the Medal of Honor, not for planning, not for rhetoric, but for action. Roosevelt was nearly shot during the charge. A bullet tore through his equipment, missing him by inches. He kept riding. Act 5. Power without corruption. Roosevelt would later become president, and this is where many men fail. Power reveals character. Roosevelt used power to protect the weak, to restrain corruption, to serve the nation, not himself. He busted monopolies, protected national parks, fought corporate greed. But he never claimed moral superiority. He believed leadership meant responsibility, not comfort, not popularity, responsibility. And when his time came to step aside, he did. No clinging, no entitlement, just duty fulfilled. Conclusion. The virtue of self-forging. Theodore Roosevelt was not born great. He built himself. Through discipline, through suffering, through action. He reminds us of a truth modern culture avoids. Weakness is not destiny. Comfort is not virtue. And strength is not cruelty when it is guided by moral purpose. Roosevelt once said, "It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena." The question is not whether you are afraid. The question is whether you will act anyway. Because history does not remember comfort. It remembers men who chose virtue when it was costly. If this story challenged you, good. Reflect honestly. Reject ease. Choose discipline. And if you believe men should still be held to higher standards, subscribe. Because virtue, discipline, sacrifice are not relics of the past. They are demands of the present.